Hi and welcome to today's episode. I thought today, since I'm not sure what journal I'm going to be working on in the future, I wanted to do something that I could just pop in any journal. And so we're going to work on tags with a sewing theme, using some paper from this sewing magazine from the Viennese fashion of 1941 that I recently found on the flea market. So I wanted to work with these smaller images, or actually more or less the whole page that you see there. I'm just going to cut that part out, and I'm going to be making 6 different tags with these images. Now, I had not planned this at all, so I'm trying to visualize what kind of tags I could make out of these and trying to cut the page accordingly, which was not easy because they weren't lined up. So I kind of had to see how best to do that. And I know not all of you obviously have pages like this, so how is this relevant to you, or how can you use it in your own spreads? Well, first of all, you can use the techniques I'm using to make these tags for any kind of tags, no matter what you put on them. And second of all, if you want sewing patterns, then I'd say if you have the opportunity, check your Goodwills, your flea markets, secondhand stores, thrift stores, and such. I would say there's a very good chance of finding old ones there, or estate sales in the States are an option. That would be my go-to number one if you have the possibility. Of course, if you don't, there's always Etsy. I have seen that they sell a lot of beautiful sewing patterns there. They have both the originals, and they also have downloadable sewing patterns. So if you really want to do this this kind of tag, you can. Of course, there'll be different images, but you can find something. So here I'm starting on my first tag, and I'm in the background. I'm putting down some of that crazy looking pattern, and in the foreground I am adding one of these smaller pictures of the actual dress. And now I'm just cutting the shape of the tag, and the best way to do it is this: snip off one corner and transfer that to the other side, but you have to flip it around, and then you get the exact same shape on the other side. That's the best way to get them equal, unless you have a template, which would even be easier, but somehow I never have a template, so this is what I do. And then I wanted to add another texture by putting some cheesecloth underneath that image, so I just cut that out and I'm fraying the edges, and I'm actually going to sew that on with my sewing machine. So I did that off camera, and here you can see I used a black thread just because that was in the machine at the time, and it worked quite well for this project. So just cutting the ends down, but I'm leaving like a little part there, and now I'm just gonna punch a small hole, and I'm gonna use some white or off-white twine to just make a little bow. And that's my first tag. I'm very happy with it. Okay, trying to find the image that I'm going to use for my second tag. And for this one I thought I would just use the sewing pattern, although I think I switch it up. Yeah, I take this one. So I like that one better. And I'm again going to back this with my cardstock just to give it more substance. Cutting it down to tag size, and again I sewed around it, inking the edges, And now I'm again going to make a hole, but a bigger one this time. And now I'm just inking up some of these reinforcement rings and placing that in the front and the back. I really like that look, although I wish I would have made them a bit darker. And I'm using this lovely twine that I had gotten from Raisa, and just also going to make a bow with that. So that's tag number 2. See, they look quite different, but they're both very easy to make. So number 3 coming up, and I decide for, yep, that one. Which one am I taking now? I think I'm taking the right one. Yeah, so I'm using that one. So I'm gonna make a little different shape now, because I think it's nice when they're different shapes. They don't have to have the same size or width or anything. So I wanted to leave some, like a border on this one. So they're all backed with the same marbled beige cardstock. I just have this because at my work, where I was working in the school, we were printing a lot of certificates, like honor roll, and also, what else did we have? Oh yeah, the graduation program and stuff we had on these, but there were always bits left over from printing, so rather than throw those away, I decided to keep those, and they come in so handy. I use them all the time. I'm so happy I took those. And for this tag on top, I'm going to do like this tab with my tab punch. You could also do that same shape if you have any kind of file folder, and just trace the shape of that part that sticks out. And I remembered I had one of these little labels that I had printed with my computer on coffee dyed paper, which said vintage, and I thought that was quite nice for this tag, and it had the exact perfect size, so I liked that a lot. So that was tag number 3, very easy. Now comes number 4. This is going to be a smaller one, so it's again one of these images and just some writing on top and the bottom. Yeah, I was thinking whether I should glue it or sew it. In the end, I just decided to glue it on. And again, I'm making a hole, but this time I'm using an eyelet. I'm just putting that in. And adding that same twine from Raisa, but not making a bow this time, but just pulling those through. So that was number 4. Now for number 5. I'm gonna use this little one, and for this one I wanted to try something a little bit different. So again, I wanted to leave some room around the image, or at least I think on the bottom, or around the whole thing, I don't remember. Yeah, pretty much the bottom. And I wanted to add some fabric because I thought that would go well with the sewing theme, and I wanted to find a fabric that was kind of vintage looking that would work for this to add to the tag. And I'm just going through my fabric pieces, which are also partially from AliExpress. If you just search for fabric scraps, then they'll give you a few options, and they usually have like 100 piece in a package, and they're all cut in like small squares. So here I'm just going through some designs, and I'm really liking this one because that totally reminds me of a dress of that era, and so I thought that was perfect. So I'm just going to tear that to pretty much cover the whole tag, more or less. So it just peeks out a little bit. Just gonna glue that on with my regular tacky glue. I do not have a fabric glue. Don't see the need for one for what I'm doing either. So just gonna stick with this. Then I'm also just gonna glue that on top. That glue in this small bottle is the same tacky glue. I just filled some of it in the small bottle because sometimes the smaller nib is just so much easier to work with. And now as a topper for that, I thought I would add a piece of that same fabric and just glue that down front and back. And I thought that was really cute. I think polka dots are always cute. Okay, that's tag number 5. And lastly, we're going to use this one on the right. Starting off with the same principle of backing it with the cardstock. Rounding the edges this time, the corners this time. Punching a hole. Using one of those reinforcers yet again, and this time I'm making them a bit darker. I like that a lot better. And now I'm again using the simple twine to do a bow, but I wanted to do something else. It was too plain for me, and so I wanted to also attach one of the very tiny tags, and I have this tiny tag punch that I got locally at a craft fair, so unfortunately I cannot give you a link for that. But I love it so much. The tags are so adorable. And so I wanted to use one of these small images, and I just had to cut that down so I could fit it in my punch, and I'm backing it again because otherwise it wouldn't punch well with this flimsy paper. And since it was so tiny, I had to attach another piece of it so I could hold it. So that's a very good trick if your pieces are too small. And so I just punched that out, and I thought I was just gonna, look, it's so cute. I think it's so adorable. I thought I was just, first I have to make a hole, and since her head was there on the top, I didn't want to punch a hole right through her head, so I punched the hole on the side, which worked out very nicely. And I'm just threading through the same twine, and I thought I would just thread it through the other one, but I didn't know how to attach it because making another bow looked weird, and just tying it off like that looked weird as well. So I took it off again, and so I decided to attach it with one of my bulb clips instead. And then I go in search of a jump ring, and then I also thought I would look through my charms and just checking to see if I have any like sewing related charms. So I find a few. So there's this safety pin and a button, and what is this? I can't see it now. Is that a clothes hanger? Oh yeah, it's a clothes pin. And I think I also have a clothes hanger. Yeah, there it is. And I think I have another kind of button. So I could have added those as well, or made more tags, or maybe I will make more tags with those. But for now, I just stuck with adding that tag. So I just attached it to the bulb clip with the jump ring, and I thought that was really cute. So that's my 6 tags. Just lining them up for you so you can see them all. I really enjoyed this, and I think I will be making some more, and I will definitely be using some of them in my journals. So hope that sparked some new ideas for you for your own journals, and hope to see you back for the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.
I know you have questions, I don't have answers, clearly no manners, baby. I know you want it better, putting on the pressure.